there! Today we're back at Hamilton Hollow. I know. Last week I said I was going to wait till early spring to try this again. You see, the thing is, I was so close last week, and it's been all I could think about this entire week. I've become obsessed with finding Green's Cave. So I just had to come back out here and get this thing done. I couldn't wait 2 or 3 months. And what's ironic, I didn't get here any earlier this time than I did last week. There are 2 things in my favor today, though. The first is, I know which way not to go. The second thing is, I'm not searching for all those caves and springs and farmsteads between the trailhead and Green's Cave. Although I do want to try and find Homestead Springs and the farm that was next to it on the return trip back to the car. Lost again. At least I'm lost in a new place this time. I know this isn't right. We'll figure it out. I remember this post from last week. I knew I didn't want to cross the creek, so I came up into this sort of field area, and the bluffs are right over here. This does mean I'm on the same path I was on last week, though. So, game trail is probably a better descriptor than path, since there are dozens of them crisscrossing. They're all over the place. They're faint. They just disappear suddenly. But then you'll find one over there and one over there. So what I'm going to do is go back and try and skirt Hamilton Creek as close as I can stay along the edge of it without being in it, and get down to the Merrimack that way. That post is behind me up the hill a bit. Here's the Merrimack, way out there. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is where I went astray last week. So across this gravel is that island in the Merrimack. You probably can't see the water up here in this channel. That's where that beaver dam was. And then this bank over here, I need to go up and stay to the right of that water. That island's what threw me off last week, I think. We'll see. I'm just following along on this bank. I know on this wide angle lens you can't see the rock in the bluff directly ahead of us. Right in the middle of that, with all the cedars on top, that is beautiful. I'm kind of hoping that's where the cave is. I'm not sure though. I'm really glad not to be on the island this time. I'd hate to cross that sketchy beaver dam again. I forgot to show that in the last video. I was wet up to close to my knees. Well, this is kind of interesting. So here's the island I was on last week. I crossed it across that beaver dam, but I'm not sure if it was before this point I'm at or if it was farther up. The island continues on a ways, but the bluff is squeezing me out here. There's that rock face, but there's enough of a slope at the base of the rock face down to the water that I think I could skirt along that. Definitely not crossing the water. Yeah, type 2 fun. Walking along the bottom of this rock bluff is really cool. Okay, I'm trying to hold the camera as steady as I can, but about 20 feet up this rock face is a really cool cave. I actually think it might be easier to rappel down into than to climb up to. That opening looks pretty tall, 8-9 feet as a guess. Here we're just below that cave, about 40 feet maybe. That is so cool. Boy, this is certainly some slow going here. I had to put all my jackets back on. Once I slowed my pace, it got really cold again. We're supposed to have an inch or two of snow tonight. That's going to be good. This is such a blast though. If you're in the area, totally recommend doing this. There's the Hamilton Hollow route and the Sleepy Hollow route. We're on the Hamilton Hollow route, which takes us along the base of the bluffs. So we'll see the cave from the base. On the Sleepy Hollow route, you come out at the top of the bluff above the cave, and there's a steep trail that goes down to the cave. I'm at a spot where I don't think, well, I'm going to have to put the camera away and pick my way through. Let me show you. A lot of down trees here. Where else are they going to go but downhill? Back to you in a minute. So I had to actually belly crawl through that one. Tore the cap off my water bottle. Got water all over my jacket and the camera, but we're okay. There's this little cave in the bluff face, and a tree's growing out of it. Nature finds a way. There's the tip of the island and the Merrimack where it splits and goes around both sides. This is so cool. I wrote down the measurements of the opening and left it at home. It's big. It looks like there's a cavern to the left and a cavern to the right once you get into the cave. So this is the stream from the cave going out to the Merrimack. We're actually in the cave right now. The wraps all the way around, way up there. Supposed to be the largest cave entrance west of the Mississippi. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've read it a few times. That is really high up there. Sticks way behind the camera too. It comes around both sides, way behind the camera. This is cool. So I've seen pictures of some beautiful formations back in this cave. It is closed because of white nose syndrome. This is as far as we're going to be able to go without being in trouble. So this is as far as we go. Sounds like there's a waterfall inside the cave behind me. It's really loud. Man, I'd love to explore this. Maybe someday. All right, let's see if we can find Homestead Springs on the way back to the car. I almost forgot. Before Homestead Spring, we need to find the top of this bluff. There's supposed to be a really steep trail farther down river to go to the top. We're doing that while we're here. All right, I'm going to assume this is it. This is the approach you would take if you came in through Sleepy Hollow. This is the only break I see in the bluff. Well, not that I could see that far downriver, but, well, here goes. Well, I'll get back to you at the top because I can't use a camera and do that. Man, that was no joke. With all the leaves and rocks rolling under my feet. Oh, this has got to be it. There's the sign that the cave is closed temporarily. There's one in front of the cave too. But headed my hands and knees going up part of that, which means I'm going to be on my butt going back down. We're about halfway to the top above the cave. Let's get up there. We're still not to the top. Maybe another 30 feet, 40 feet, but this may be our best view. It's beautiful. Let's take a look. All right, best I could tell, we're probably standing directly over the entrance to Green's Cave. And there's the bluff we were walking along to get here. Here's the island, the Merrimack Valley. Yeah, so we don't need to go up higher. We're right over the cave. Okay, at this point, we're 110 feet above the cave and 140 feet above the river. All right, let's make the trek back, and I'm going to do my best to find Homestead Springs. It sounds really neat. I like to find it. I've read that it's difficult and don't have much of a description on how to get to it, but I know it's about half-mile on this side of Pratt Springs, so, you know, I guess it's something. Let's see if we can find it. Well, I just spent about an hour just sitting on the point on that bluff, looking out across the beautiful valley. It was gorgeous. Saw a pair of bald eagles, and they were flying side by side up the river towards me, and then they split and went out over that valley, started circling around over the valley, and then eventually one went downriver and one went upriver. That was a good 10 or 15 minutes. That was wonderful. The only thing missing was a hot cup of coffee. And I have plenty of room in this pack for a stove, and yeah, I just didn't even consider it until I was up there. That was a wonderful time. All right, down this steep slope now. All right, I really didn't want to do this, but I'm determined to find Homestead Spring, and I've got to be on the other side of Hamilton Creek to find it. Cold January day, here goes. Oh man, wow, damn, woo. It's kind of swampy over here, and I really don't have any landmarks to look for other than the flow of the spring itself, which I'm hoping goes to Hamilton Creek. I don't even have that information, but it's supposed to be a pretty heavy flowing spring, and there was a farmstead there that would have some remnants of the buildings and stuff, so I'm just kind of picking through looking for that. There must be a lot of feral hogs out here. There are big rooted up patches on the ground all around this area. Okay, this has got to be it. I was expecting something a little different. I thought there was a corral fence around the spring and a spring house out in the middle of the water, which is, you know, just an old-fashioned refrigerator. I do see the outflow of this down to Hamilton Creek, though. It's a small stream. Let me show you. It's kind of pretty, especially with the watercress that's just all over the place here. I like watercress. Haven't had it in a while. This would probably be a good source for it, though, as far as the purity of the water goes. Kind of peppery the way I remember it. It's been a while, though. I'm going to see if I can find some remnants of the farmstead that was here. All right, I see it. That pool was just quite a bit downstream from where the farmstead was. So we're looking upstream. I'm going to have to try and find a way over there. And I see a concrete structure and some posts out in the water. Oh, this is cool. Let's get closer. Here's an old farm fence. You can see the line of posts. And it did have farm fencing on it with 1, 2, 3 strands of barbed wire above the top of that. So I guess that was to keep livestock out of the spring, maybe? Here's a better look upstream towards the old spring house and spring itself. I'm just standing out on a bit of rock out in the middle of it. My feet are soaking wet, so I'm probably going to just walk up the stream bed here. It's rocky, and see if I could get to it that way. The brush is so thick, it seems like the only way. All right, so this is the old spring house, and they concreted in the spring itself. Flows up over here. You can see it bubbling up out of the ground. Flows through the spring house, so it's an old-fashioned refrigerator. The temperature of the water would keep a nice cool temperature in here to maintain dairy products and those types of things. That fencing, there was a corral over there, you could tell. All right, I'm going to show you inside here and then where the spring bubbles up out of the ground. Okay, so I'm standing in the doorway. We had 2 windows and a door. On this opposite wall, there's still some wood in there, probably for shelves. Here's the other window. Out this window is where the spring comes up out of the ground. Okay, and this is the spring. And every once in a while you see a pocket of bubbles pop up from under this gravel, from all different areas of the gravel. It's kind of cool. Here's the old farm gate. This would have been their road up here. You see the post and the outflow of the spring right there. Lots of watercress. Look what I found. Remember this fence post from earlier in the video? So a good way to find Homestead Spring, or the only way I know if you're coming from the trailhead now, is when you come across the fence post, then make a left. You're going to have to cross Hamilton Creek twice because there's a bit of an island there. And then once you get all the way across it, make a right, and in about roughly a quarter mile of bushwhacking, it's pure bushwhacking, you're going to find the spring. I think it's worth it. Man, that was so much fun. Between last week and today, we found everything I know of to find on this bushwhack, plus the bonus cave in last week's video. So I have to say, Greens Cave is really impressive, but the view from the bluff above it, that was the highlight of the day for me. So I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. See you next week.